Hey everyone, it's Jessica. I'm back with another layout for SpiegelMom Scraps design team, and you can use my code Jessica15 in the shop at any time for a discount of 15%, and I'll link the website below just in case you need to grab that. So I'm going to start this one off using some textured cardstock by Colorblock, and it's not a mixed media paper or anything like that, so it doesn't hold up super well to a bunch of mixed media or liquids. I could have used gesso, but honestly I don't really like the way that the gesso goes on this textured paper, and I didn't feel like waiting for it to dry anyhow, so I am just going to wing it and apply this Shimmerz paints on here directly onto the paper, and I'm just going to be quick about drying it up so that my paper doesn't warp too bad. So I started off with some Shimmerz in Inklingz Blue Lagoon and some Creameez in Boogie Boardin Blue. So I've just kind of applied both of those. I started the first one, as you can see here, using the packaging technique where you just water these down a little bit, and then I put some on packaging and then just kind of smush them around on my layouts, and then I just added some additional splatters just with my paintbrush. So I am just blending a couple of these colors together just to make some dimension in there, and then I'm going to dry it up with my heat gun, but I don't want to dry it up too long with my heat tool because it does tend to warp your paper even worse. I was going to heat up my Mink laminator and run it through that to dry, but again, sometimes whenever I run it through there, I don't really like the end result of how it looks. So even though I'm super impatient when it comes to mixed media, I do like to let things air dry on their own because it does seem like it doesn't warp your paper as bad for whatever reason. So here I am just finishing off my mixed media by adding some Shimmerz in Golden Wheat. That is one of my absolute favorites. It's gorgeous, and I like the shimmer pots because you can just use them straight out of the pot. You don't have to really add any water to them or anything. So that makes it really easy for me anyways. Here's my two photos. I've already backed them with some of the textured cardstock that I'm using for my background, but I used a separate sheet that I had in my scrap bin here. And then I'm just going to pull out this Fun in the Sun paper pad by Elle Studio and a bunch of the embellishments that go with it from the summer collection. And I am just going to kind of mix and match things here. I'm going to layer up my photo. I'm not going from any inspiration here. This is all me, just kind of having an idea in my head and putting it down on paper. So basically I'm just kind of going on a whim on this one. I did actually look back on one of my older layouts in my Instagram feed, and I kind of went off that a little bit because it was like the mixed medias end up being kind of like a diamond shape. It's green. I've done that one a couple times with mixed media with paper issues, so that's kind of where I was drawing inspiration from, but I wanted to change this one up a bit and do, talking is hard today, and do some inking on it, like stamping or something. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with this one. So I'm just continuing to build my layers on these photos here. I've stuck them together, and I am just backing them with some tissue paper. I think this is actually the tissue paper that came in my Not Just for Boys Kit Club kit, or a Hip Kit Club kit, maybe recently, one of those two. But yeah, they both have like a really similar color of tissue paper this month. So that's what I'm using to back my photos, and I've used my Nuvo glue to glue in between those tissue paper layers. You can see all that beautiful mixed media in the background dried now. So I'm just going to continue building this up. I want to do some stamping on this layout, but I'm going to pull in some black Archival ink for that and some of my stamp sets by Elle Studio. I'm ripping a couple sections here just to add some more of that beautiful pattern paper in the background here. So I'm just going to tuck a couple pieces in the top and bottom there. And I'm just going to work from the back side of that. So I'm going to add some adhesive to the back and then flip it to the front to make sure I get that lined up perfectly. And in this other one, I actually just put on from the back completely. So I'm just flipping it, adding my adhesive, and placing that down, making sure that's straight. So I'm going to do some machine stitching on this layout as well. I kind of like that messy stitching, and this layout is truly calling for some of that, so I'm going to throw some of that on there too. This little fun title was actually from a Hip Kit Club kit from a while back, I think maybe last summer, I think. but I have since used up the rest of the kit, and I had those titles left, but I just really loved how big that fun was, and I decided to use the times from the Elle set that I have. So I'm just going to layer those, and I'm going to put those times letters right on top of the fun. So you'll see me stick those down closer to the end of this video, but I like to keep them on their backing pieces for now. That way I can do all of my background work and add everything else around it before I actually commit to sticking that down. So here I've used some Elle Studio stamps to make this little tag here with the die that comes with it. And, well, I guess it's sold separately. It doesn't come with it, but it's coordinating, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. So I have just stamped my little tab and then my little phrase on there with another stamp set, and then cut it out with my Big Shot machine using my magnetic platform by Stampin' Up! Along with Magic Mat and a clear plate. And I do use a couple pieces of cardstock to shim mine, so it makes it a little bit tighter, because I find that Magic Mat is a little bit thinner than those clear plates that comes with the Big Shot. So here I'm just pulling out some little stitching stamps by Elle's as well. I'm pretty much using everything Elle's today, except for a couple little bits that are hip kit and miscellaneous, I think. So just stamping those little stitches all across the page, or vertically across the page, I guess. And then I'm going to actually pull out that sewing machine and do machine stitching all over that too. So here I'm just adding a couple little stickers. This one says "Life is Good," and I'm just going to continue just pulling anything that matches this layout, anything that I think will look cute and I can add to it. You guys know that I like a lot of stuff on my layouts, and I like to use up a lot of supply because I have a lot of supply. So I need to use things up, and I don't feel like a page is completely done until it has a ton of stuff on it. So that's my scrapping style, and I'm sticking to it. So here I've just added a cute little label from Elle's, and I'm going to continue building that up on top of my title with a couple more little phrases. That one says "Sun and Sand." And I'm just going to add a few more little bits. I had the most trouble tucking that in there underneath that acrylic. It kept getting stuck on that orange sticker. So I'm just going to add a few more little stickers on the tops and bottoms, building that up. I'll add that "Fun in the Sun" right there on the right. And I really liked this Happiness Found stamp set. So I'm going to add these cute little arrows on both sides there, and then I will stamp the Happiness Found in a couple places on the top and bottom. You'll see me rubbing the stamps on my hand a lot, on the back of my hand. I do that because when you get these stamp sets, that clear acrylic is really sticky, and it tends to stick to your paper whenever you first use it. So I have just gotten in the habit of rubbing it on the back of my hand before I apply the ink to it. So then it takes that stickiness off because the oils in your hand react to it, and it takes all that stick right off of there so it doesn't stick to your paper. So if you ever wonder why I do that, that's why. So here I'm just continuing to build this layout and add little bits and pieces. I've got my title. It's gonna stay there. Sometimes I decide to move my titles around whenever I start putting my embellishments on, but that is where I'm gonna put it. I'm just gonna wait until later to stick it down. Adding some more little stitches in here from another Elle stamp set. I'm kind of pulling out all the stops on this one. And I'm still using that black Archival ink. I think that's the only ink that I use on this one, which is not like me. Usually I use a couple different inks, but I am using just all black, and I wanted my mixed media to really shine and be the color of this layout. So that's what I did. So here you can see I've ran it through my sewing machine and did some messy stitches all around that page just to enhance what I already have going on. My mixed media is nice and dry now. I'm going to add a few more things. I keep fussing with that little cluster of embellishments, but that is where it's going to eventually go. I'm grabbing a few of these cute little stars here. I decided to change the orange one at the top since I used that orange sticker. I didn't want the orange to be right next to each other. Then I pull out this little sticker sheet by Coco Vanilla Studio. This is the Sunkiss collection, I believe. It's been one of my all-time favorites. And I just wanted to use a couple of those stickers because I thought they looked super cute, like little labels. And they went with my theme, and I was kind of running out of other Elle Studio stickers to use. So went ahead and popped my date stamp down. And then I'm grabbing this other little These are just little teeny tiny Elle stickers. They're like little icons, but they're hearts and stars. I just love them. And then I'm going to add a whole bunch of sequins. As you can see, I pulled in my other sequin mix. Those are the 2 new releases for from August, from this month, from SpiegelMom Scraps. And this one has flowers in it, and I struggled with that flowers, trying to flatten it out, but then it ended up sticking to my finger instead of the glue, so I had to fuss with it a little bit. But yeah, I was struggling between the 2 different mixes, but I really wanted to use this orange mix. I love using orange on my layouts, and I really wanted those orange sequins to kind of pop on this layout. I thought that was a beautiful color, and this is just a gorgeous mix. So I really wanted to use that one on this layout, but the other mix would have matched so good too. This one's called Girls Weekend, and I can't remember offhand what the other one's called, but it's so pretty. But they're from this month's release. If you want to grab them from the shop, again, use my code. It'll save you 15% off. It's Jessica15. So yeah, I'm just going to stick down this title now. As you can see, I've stuck it to my photos first and then continued to glue it down to the rest of the page. And I thought it was lacking a little something, so I'm going to add some sparkles here as well. You can see all my sequins are placed down now. I fast forwarded that so you don't have to watch me put everyone down. So here's the finished layout. I hope that this inspires you to create something today. Just get in your scrap room or your kitchen table or wherever you like to craft and just create something, even if it's just a card. Get those supplies out and use them. So thank you guys so much for watching and for being here, and I appreciate each and every one of you and your sweet comments. So thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.